guys, welcome back to We Watched a Movie. I am Mike, and today we are spoiler-free reviewing Lisa Frankenstein, which is an 80s horror romance comedy about a teenager in Catherine Newton who is so damn lonely that the universe opens up just to give her a dead dude to hang out with. It's a little Edward Scissorhands, a little Encino Man, and it's written by Jennifer's Body writer Diablo Cody. It also has some of that stuff in there, and directed by first-time feature, wide release at least wise, director Zelda Williams. From the trailer, you may have some of the same concerns I had going to Lisa Frankenstein, which is A, that it's February of 2024, and comedies released these days are about as boundary-pushing as your grandma's live, laugh, love sign she has hanging in her kitchen. And B, it's probably going to have some weak-ass virtue-signaling Blumhouse Black Christmas-style eye-rolling moments. But I'm proud to report that it's actually none of those things. There's actually a few moments in Lisa Frankenstein where it tickles the tush of actual shock and surprise. Now, I'm not talking about anything genre-busting or pants-shitting that's going to change the way you see movies or anything like that. It's just in a movie like this where a lot of movies would have went vanilla ice cream, Lisa Frankenstein decides to shotgun a cold Busch Light. So the movie, of course, is set in the 80s, but it doesn't feel like some half-assed Stranger Things wannabe version of the 80s, like most horror projects that are based in the 80s we get these days. It feels like its own thing, maybe a little bit of Tim Burton 80s in there. Speaking of which, honestly, the best way to explain this entire movie is it kind of feels like a Tim Burton 90s project as opposed to like a Tim Burton 2000s project, which is a really good thing, specifically the stepmom played by Carla Gugino. She was in Gerald's Game, Watchmen, so many more things. She's fucking awesome, and she's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. And this lady isn't just a service-level butthole stepmom. She's a cross between the crazy plastic Tupperware nutbag mom from Are You Afraid of the Dark and Courtney Love if she shopped at Kohl's. Her seething hatred for her stepdaughter as the cameras closed in on her face and are around her as this obscenely styled 80s decor. The juxtaposition of that, just the darkness of it, kind of like the deep down darkness deep inside, surrounded by bright and happy things, just reminds you of so many of the cool things Burton did in the 90s with movies like Edward Scissorhands. And Catherine Newton, on the other hand, is going to be a fucking star. I'm talking Margot Robbie, Samara Weaving. She's got it all. She has charisma shooting out of her butthole. Put her in everything. She's going to be fucking huge. And she's awesome and charismatic as always here as well, just like she was in Freaky and everything I've seen her in to this point. Comedy-wise, Lisa Frankenstein's not a movie that's going to have you bent over in stitches, cackling like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear, but it has some pretty good laughs, and in an age, again, where comedy movies just rarely ever exist, it was plenty. And I appreciate the lack of forced, quirkiness that comes from Diablo Cody's script here. I think we all kind of expect that with those movies, and I can say this as someone who forces way too many jokes into every article or video I do. We can smell our own. But I did not at any point smell a movie that was trying too hard here, and that was really refreshing. Surprisingly, a lot of the comedy actually came from the physical comedy of Cole Sprouse, who, by the way, is fucking Frankenstein in Big Daddy. He's the kid. He's Kid Julian from Big Daddy. I couldn't fucking believe it. I wiped my own ass. I wiped my own ass. But anyway, he was great in this role, and he actually got the biggest laughs out of everybody in our theater, whether it was like facial expressions that he was making, or well-timed grunts that he was doing, or the physical comedy of just throwing himself around the room. The dude is really funny. But in the end, the laughs never really go for the throat, but there's some really good chuckles throughout the entire movie. When it comes to the horror, Lisa Frankenstein manages to handle its murder and dismemberment and all-around fucked uppiness with this nonchalant attitude that actually kind of makes it feel freaky. Just a little funny inside, like when Teletubbies used to come on the TV. The movie doesn't bother with the weight of the characters' decisions, and in a weird way that kind of puts that weight in the viewer's lap. Just makes you feel strange inside, like when Garth used to have to climb the rope in gym class. But again, these are the choices that separate it from other horror rom-coms like it. Like some people will find it in poor taste. But I'm just kind of fucked up and weird, and I'm tired of, movie missionary position. I'm going to try some weird stuff. So when they make those questionable decisions and don't really seem to care about the human life, I'm kind of like, hey, I'm into this shit. Let's do something weird. Did I say 2 fingers? I meant 3. And again, this is no funny games or anything like that. I don't want to oversell that stuff. But for a PG-13 horror flick, I admire its distaste for shitty human beings. The story itself, it does have more holes than Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 4. I will give it that for sure. But in a movie where a dude's brought back from the dead for romance and uses a tanning bed throughout half the movie, I mean, does anybody really give a shit? Do we need an airtight script for this situation? Probably not. For instance, when he comes back to life and they have their first interaction together, she goes from, oh my god, there's this dirt-covered monster in my living room, to like, hey, you want to hang out and listen to The Cure, in a matter of seconds before she even realizes that he's the dude from the grave that she's been visiting. And it's like, who the fuck would react that way? But We all knew where this was heading anyway, so in a way you almost appreciate them not wasting your time getting there. But there are about 15, how the fuck does that work, moments in this movie. So those who are sticklers for plausibility, you're probably not going to like this film. So Lisa Frankenstein as a whole just kind of works. It's a relatively joyful and interesting place to spend a couple hours without ever feeling like it's going for some specific thing, which is, again, is pretty surprising for a Diablo Cody film for me. But it just kind of feels like it's having a good time. It's not an absolute riot or a game changer or cutting edge film or anything like that. It's just a simple, kind of dumb, aesthetically pleasing, good time that's never annoying in the way it tries to entertain you. And I can appreciate that. I'm going to give Lisa Frankenstein a 7 out of 10. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you had a good time with this, I ask that you please lick right down here. Like the video. Oh dear God. It really helps when you do that, and so does you subscribing into the, God damn it, bye.
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, God damn. God damn you, faggot!
Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS.